Again, very, very proud of our team, proud of our effort to come back and be able to finish that game off and get the win. Just like I expected, we got a great effort from Tennessee, but our players responded. We need to regroup and get back to work here this week to play Ole Miss. He will be, but not today or tomorrow.
Mark, you know these victories against Tennessee don't come along very often. Do you think the team really realizes the significance of what that meant for the fan base and stuff?
I think they do. I think, with all the information out there now at their fingertips at all times, you can't help but hear that. I think that the days of not being isolated and the things we preach sometimes during good times and in bad, of just concentrating on ourselves and being isolated and doing all that, is easier said than done. Again, with all the information out there, all the credible media like yourselves and all the information, there's a lot of coverage, there's great exposure, and they get a lot of information. And then you put on top of that all the people that think they're journalists or reporters and just talk about it all the time. There's an awful lot of information out there.
Mark, can you talk about the decision to put Lonnie Johnson ahead of Chris Westry in one of the corner spots?
Pardon me?
The decision to put Lonnie Johnson ahead of Chris at one of the corner spots.
Lonnie played well. He's doing some good things. He really is. We don't just say that. When we talk about competition and earning your way, that's not lip service. And it's nothing against Chris. We need Chris to get playing well and playing better. And it's not that he's played poorly. Just Lonnie played well.
Like you said earlier on that you've been hard on Lonnie because you saw the potential in him and what he could do. Does he take into that coaching? I mean, have you seen a real progression in what
I have. And with experience, comes confidence too. And your preparation, you get your confidence from the preparation. And he's really, worked hard at it. He's gotten more experience. He's playing more confident. And Lonnie has a toughness about him that I really like. He brings an edge and an attitude, and it's a difficult spot. We'll be challenged this week, that's for sure, with these wideouts and the way Ole Miss plays offensively. It's going to be a real challenge. But I just like what he brings, and he's getting better.
Mark, I know he's been banged up some as well, but a couple of years ago you said of Chris Westry you thought he was a future superstar. What has happened or not happened since then?
I don't know if did I specifically identify him or not. I may have. I think I just said the group. There's some superstars in the group, and I know it's like I always tell you guys. I'll just keep it real bland, and then I can't be anything used against me in the future. So that's why I'm gonna keep everything tight to the bed. No, it's true. You know how that goes. You love to use something against you, but I still think there's some superstars in that group. I do, and we got to do a better job, and they've got to do their job, and together, there's still a lot of potential in that group.
Mark, you're bowl eligible this time of year, and since you've been here, you haven't been bowl eligible this early in the season.
Mm-hmm.
Do you fear that there could be a letdown in the team knowing that you're bowl eligible, or do you keep up the attitude that you had last year that don't flinch, you still have more work to do?
Yeah, a couple things. I think, number one, I never want to get back to we all remember how difficult it is, and it wasn't that long ago when we were scrapping, to get 6 wins just to go. So I don't think you should ever just take that for granted. I think that's when, a lot of issues start popping up, across the board. In your program and the culture of your program across the board. So we never want to take going to a bowl game for granted. We know how difficult it is and how quickly things can go the other way. But yes, we definitely want to take it 1 week at a time. So 6 is important. We acknowledge that, always have. And it's real important to get back and play well this week because again, we all know how quickly things can get flipped, and it's really about us and our mentality and our team and our standards. And hopefully we'll play the same way this week as we did last week with our preparation.
Mark, you mentioned Ole Miss's receivers. How would you characterize that group as a whole? They seem like they're pretty talented.
Very, very talented. I'm so caught up in the 1 week season that I'm in all the time, but it, could possibly be the best group, more than likely the best group we've played all year. They're just very talented players. They're explosive. They're big and strong. They make competitive plays across the board. In every play, virtually every play Ole Miss has is a run or a pass. So if they like the numbers, and they, toss it up and let their players make plays, and so it puts a lot of stress on you.
Is their offense not really changed at all within the quarterback?
No. If anything, it gives you a few more options with his legs. And Shea obviously can as well, but he was definitely wanting to throw it. But Jordan definitely can hurt you with his arm and his legs. And I didn't see any step back. And that's no disrespect to either player. It's just a blessing to have two players like that. I think they have two great players. So the narrative of, you're playing a backup quarterback, throw that out the window, because we've all seen backup quarterbacks go in and play better than the starters a lot of times. And I'm not saying any knock on Shea, because I think he's one of the best players in the league. I just think what this guy can do and what Jordan could do with his arm and his legs and what they do offensively, there's going to be absolutely zero drop back, or zero, as far as them taking a drop off. Yeah. Thank you, Tony.
Mark, you saw the three interior guys on the offensive line. Did you see the line start coming together?
I do. I felt good about that. We talked about that last week in here, and some of you, observed that and asked about if continuity was the issue, and I acknowledge that. I think it was, and it is. So the fact that we played all three guys in the interior for the entire game, it did help us. And I think, with playing three tackles, I think that helped us as well because of where we're at that position. Those guys are banged up. I don't know if they can handle every snap, so we were able to, unload some of their pressure and split those reps up at tackle, and that helped us.
Mark, is the Canes available right now? I mean, it looks like he's pressed out, but not really.
Right. He would have played. Had Drake not been able to come back in the game, he would have played. Yeah. He got a mild leg injury.
Mark, was Jordan Jones, you said he was a little rusty the first game back. Was that more of the same Jordan Jones that you saw in years past?
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, we saw flashes of that in game one, and I think he was much more consistent in game two. And I think he'll get better as the year goes on here. And we needed both of those guys because Eli did some good things as well. And Eli he can't handle every snap right now, as banged up as he is. So it was good to have both of those guys.
He's not real big on talking to us, but he came out, I think, for the first time since last year and had a lot to say and was kind of reflective. He said that time away taught him some stuff about how important the game is to him. Have you seen any of that in him? Have you seen him sort of look inward during that time when he was sidelined? Definitely.
I think, he's constantly growing like all of us, and Jordan is getting better, and he's growing up each and every week. And, we need his energy out there, that's for sure, but we need him, the focus that he has right now. We need that all the time, and I think he'll be a much better player if he continues to look at it that way.
Mark, how important was it for Snell to come out and have the kind of game that he had? Been having a game like that all year.
I think it was real important. I think, I think everybody's starting to realize that. I think certainly y'all realize that. I talk about that all the time and needing to run the football. I mean, you have to be able to do it. We all know and we all want to throw the football effectively, and we will. But you have to be able to run the ball. And certainly that opens up a lot of options, and it helped us, and it was important for Benny to get on track. And I think, just like I said up here last week and talked about, you saw that. I think everybody, Benny played his best game by far. He was much more detailed and much more accurate in what he was doing, both in running the football and his protections. I think the offensive line was more consistent, and we had great play out of our tight ends. And I know they didn't catch the ball, and we all want them to, but when, again, and I'll say this, with only having that many snaps, it hurts everybody's touches. We will complete more passes. We'll get the ball to the receivers. We'll get the ball to the tight ends when were running a lot of plays. And that was a combination of things. Obviously, when you turn the ball over 4 times, and most of them were either 2 of them were first down, and the other 2, I believe, were going for first downs, and we fumbled them. So, well, one of them was, or Drew's would have been real close, maybe 2nd and 1 or whatever. They're big gains. So you're talking about a lot of plays right there. We left on the table just with putting the ball on the ground. That's a lot of plays, because you could see when we didn't turn the ball over, we had some very effective drives. And overall, still too many possessions. We're under 3. I think we had 6 possessions on offense that were were 3 and outs or less. 2 of them were 1 and outs, fumbled on the opening play, and that kills your number of plays right there. And it puts the defense in a terrible situation because you have to defend so many plays. So we just need to get that fixed. So I guess what I'm saying, to sum it all up, if we could take care of the football, we really would have played a complete football game.
Were there any themes to what you guys saw in those fumbles? Anything that concerns you going forward?
I mean, it concerned us going into it. We address it. We talk about it, especially on a cold night. That ball gets dry, it gets slippery, and we talked about it. We emphasized it. Obviously, Coach Grant and our offense coaches have done a great job all year of teaching that and emphasizing that, and we got to get back to it. So, we will address it. We'll talk about it. We'll stress it, and then we got to move on and have the confidence that we'll take care of the football.
Mark, speaking of completing passes, Stevens is about 64, 65% first 5 games. It's about 51, 52 the last 3. Is that being banged up, or is there another explanation?
I think it's just like everything that you hear me talk about all the time. It's a lot of pieces to it. Is it protection? Is it drops? Is it getting open? Is it on Steven? I think it's all of the above. I think Steven will take, some of that and maybe missed a few reads, a few throws. Receivers can certainly catch it. They could get open, and we could get better protection. So it's always putting it all together.
Mark, when you watch the film, how did the most competitive plays that you were
Better.
happy with a week ago?
Much better. We made some competitive plays defensively. Offensively, there was a couple big catches that were huge. Taven had 2 that were great plays that we needed. Those are difference makers. And, Lonnie made a great play, on a competitive pass, and we had better coverage across the board.
Mark, at the beginning of the year, you talked about the challenge of dealing with unknowns. Other than injuries, now as you're moving into the last 4 games of the season, what are some of the unique challenges that you face as head coach now?
Oh, no different than every day. I mean, it's always a challenge. Just you're dealing with young kids and a bunch of guys in your program that you have to have ready to play. So it starts with mentally being focused and ready to prepare for a great week and getting them to play better each and every week. And I think we're going to hit that stride. I really do. I feel like we're going to play some much better football and more consistent.
Mark, when was the last time you were part of a team that had 4 fumbles and still won football?
For what? I don't know. I don't keep track of things like that. But it's probably been a long. I don't know if I've ever been in a game where I've been -4 and 1.
Did Quentin Bohanna do well against Tennessee?
He did. I was about to say everything, but I don't want that to be used against me. But let me rephrase. He did well in all phases. He executed his assignment on blitzes and certain techniques that we needed to be better than we were a year ago. He executed some things that had some awareness. He was physical. He played with great effort. So he did some good things. Very good. Made tackles. He's been, more production out of that position than we've had in a while. So he did some good things. He's actually our player of the week defensively within our own team. He's our defensive player of the week.
When you were recruiting him, did you see him as a kid who, hey, he can help us right away, or has he progressed maybe faster than you thought?
I think he has probably exceeded my expectations for his first year. I knew he was going to be a very good football player, but he's played well as a freshman. Yeah. That's a tough position, as you know. I mean, playing nose in this league, you're getting banged around pretty good. Yep.
That position in this league is so critical. The great teams usually have a great player there. They're really hard to get.
Mm-hmm.
How big is it to get a guy that's not a junior college guy, he's a young guy that's going to give you several years there?
Yeah, we needed it. And, very grateful that he's here, and I love his attitude. He's just, our players like him. He's got a great demeanor about him. He's very focused. He's on a mission, and I just like the way he handles his business. And if he continues to progress, he has a chance to be a really good player.
Was there something that position's really hard stat-wise to just say look at the stats and tell? Was there something that we won't see on the stat sheet that when you saw the film of him play, or a couple that jumped out about why he looked so good to you?
Well, without getting overly technical, but we all know the basics. You have to be firm up the middle. But there are some techniques in executing movements that he's quick on his movements. And for a big body to be quick in his movements is important, but he's also very stout and disruptive. And without getting overly technical, but when the nose is just playing a zero, when he's not moving, it's very easy to get doubled and bounced out of there. And then they climb, and they can get both the nose and the person up the middle, whether it's the Mike or the Will, depending on 3x1 or 2x2. So basically up the middle, you got to be strong at the point of attack, and he's not getting bounced around.
So was Jordan able to make a lot of those tackles because guys in front of him were doing what they were supposed to?
Basically, I mean, in general, a lot of times that happens. Tennessee does a nice job, and they hurt us early in the game, really on the perimeter as well. And some of those guys inside the gaps get very big, and you have to be able to run and get flat. And they create space. They did a year ago to us up there. We did a much better job this year, in particular after maybe a quarter and a half. In the second half, we really did a good job. If we don't give up the 4th and 25 or whatever it was, we end up with, they get about 118 yards in the second half. And so we give up 86 bad yards at the end that really, we should have taken care of.
Was it something from the Tennessee game that you guys were able to get the 7 sacks? I think you came into the game with just 12, or is that just sort of the defense making progress?
Well, we felt like we can pressure them a bit. Yes, we did. In our 4-man rushes, we felt like our guys had a chance to create some big plays, and they did.
Marcus, this weekend,
Coach Brooks, and coming to your defense, talking about how you had taken the program on to another level, described the Kentucky fans as fickle. I know you probably think sports writers are fickle, but is that a fair assessment of the fans? How would you characterize Big Blue Nation's fans?
Why are you going to go there, John? Come on. I mean, come on. That's just a low blow today when everything's going so nice. So no, I love our fans, and I want them passionate, and I want them expecting to win. Obviously, if you have no opportunity to win, then, we've been there before, and I don't want to go back. I promise you, like I said before, we take it serious. We want a product on the field that everybody's proud of. We're trying our best. So our fans are passionate and very good. And name me one fan base in the country that doesn't have some people that are going to question everything you do.
Marcus, how did you have 4 turnovers, but you didn't turn Tennessee over at all? Talk to me about the difficulties in trying to get the team to turn the team over.
Get turnovers. Yeah, we do need a better job. We've done it. We did a really good job early in the season, and going 2 games without a turnover is not good. So we've got to create some turnovers defensively. I cannot believe that he held onto the ball a couple times, and the one time when Lonnie had the sack, I can't believe that ball didn't come out. They did a nice job. Maybe once later, it might have been that one where it was loose. Could have been that they recovered. But anyway. I'm just trying to refresh my memory whether there was a ball on the ground or not for Tennessee that they recovered. But sometimes with fumble recoveries, it's luck. You have to fall on it. So it's 50-50 when the ball's on the ground. Some of it is luck. Some of it is taking it away. Just like I said with Lonnie's hit, that was a great hit, blindside, and you'd love to see that ball come squirting out. You have to give him credit for protecting the football there.
Did you get any clarity from the league office about the penalty for everybody? I mean, have they talked to you guys at all about that?
No, I talked to Steve today, but I better be careful because I can't ever discuss things we talk about. But I had no issue with anything. I thought they handled that. I said that after the game. I thought they handled it well in trying to keep. None of us want to see anything get out of hand, and I got to do a better job. We'll address it today, and I think they were just trying to make sure they kept the game without getting out of hand as far as players and, getting in disputes and fights and all that stuff. So.
Did they hear or see something in that exchange that they didn't think that was necessary?
I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, other than the fact that I didn't like there was a bunch of guys getting together right there, and none of us want to ever see any melee. There's no place for any of that. And it's a heated game. It's a rivalry game, and it needs to be, handled the right way on the field. And I think they did the best way they could. So.
Mark, how important was it for your team, do you think, that not only Steven comes back from the injury, but sprints out of the locker room like he was making a statement?
I think it's, as I said after the game, you just have to admire Steven and his toughness and his determination. It doesn't surprise any of us. I think he was kind of mad that he had to go in, but he certainly, we had to make sure we checked him out. And, we felt like it was an injury that Jim had a good idea of what it was, but you have to go in and check it and see to what degree and make sure there aren't other issues. And so, I had a good idea he'd come back, but I think it does say a lot about him, and it does help us, and it helps the team. The fact that he wanted to sprint out there and get back as soon as he could. He didn't miss very many plays.
He landed right on that shoulder on the touchdown. Did he hurt it any worse, or just?
Not that I know of. I'm sure he'll tell you. I mean, he definitely is very sore. I saw him Sunday, and he was beat up. He was beat up pretty good, and so. Yeah, I had my youngest boy with me for an hour at the office on Sunday, and we were walking around, went down and saw some of the guys in the training room, and normally once in a while Steve and some of the boys they'll all go bowling with my kids once in a while, and I talked about going bowling, and then I looked at him and I was like, you better not bowl today. You better. Yeah, he was beat up pretty good.
Did it surprise you at all that he kept it on the first play?
It did, but he made clean reads all day. And that was the good thing. Some of this year, which he has to make a lot of decisions, whether it's RPOs or zone reads, he has to make a lot of decisions, obviously. And we would be maybe just a fraction off here or there, as I mentioned, whether it be RPO the week before. I mentioned some of that, where he had a few reads that he missed, and he was very, very accurate this week with making decisions.
It seemed like Lynn was close to breaking a couple of those kickoff returns, but maybe there have been one or two where questionable thing on the end zone. Just how's he done in that?
Yeah, one was questionable. Just got to have better awareness where he's at. But he's made good decisions. He's very coachable. That's the good thing about him. He's one of those guys. He takes the coaching. He understands it, and that's why he's able to do what he's done and play receiver right now when he's never played that position. I mean, I think people just think you could line up a wide receiver and say, get him hey, dumb, get him the football. But I mean, you gotta learn a lot of things. And Lynn has done an exceptional job. He's going to be a great player, but he's very coachable and he's instinctual. That's the good thing. He gets it very, very quickly.
Mark, how's Drew practicing?
He's doing good. He's doing good. He'll be fine. Drew did a good job. He made good reads. He made good decisions. I mean, obviously, he can't put the ball on the ground, but that comes from playing and some experience too. Drew's going to be just fine. And I had total confidence when he went in the game. The fumble hurt, and then that hurts your confidence. It hurts a lot of things, but he would have been just fine, and I was excited to see him. I knew Steven was coming back. I wanted Steven to come back, but it's always been like that for us this year. And just like when Jordan got hurt, I said, I'm excited to see Eli, and we have guys that are working and working and working to get their opportunity, and we always tell them they're one play away. And that's a perfect example of it right there. That's why you got to prepare the right way every week. And I'm certainly glad Steven came back, obviously. But I was excited for Drew to see him play, and I think he would have done a very good job if he had to stay in there.
Was his fumble in any sense just because he hadn't been hit much?
I'm sure that's part of it.
Mark, I've heard coaches here, when they're trying to change the culture, they have to get the players to where they expect to win when they get in these situations. And you had so many close games this year, and here you are 6-2. Do you feel like you got your kids to that point, or is it still a work in progress?
I think you never take that for granted. You always work at that. But, it is difficult. It's just like people assume, well, maybe Tennessee's not having as good a year as they had, so, you'll beat them. Well, you don't just beat somebody twice in 33 years just because. I mean, you're changing a culture. Those things are very difficult, and we've talked about them a lot. I don't want to get into all that, but when you're changing a mindset that goes very, very deep rooted, and like I said, with all the information they have, you can't take those things for granted.
Steven, you talked about his gutsy play in this past game, but his leadership, I mean, what is that like, and what is he like on the sidelines? It seems like he's very collected and calm, but can get the guys rallied when he needs to. And is there anyone that you can compare him to that you've coached before?
Well, I think he has a great demeanor about him, and I think that's earned, not given, and it's earned by the way when it goes about his business, his work ethic, so all that, works in his favor and, works for him. He leads the best way he can, and he's a strong leader on this team. He doesn't have to be overly demonstrative or, be too loud. He kind of leads the way he feels is necessary, and he does a very good job. Our team really responds well to him. As far as comparing him, I don't know if that's fair. I think he's just unique in his own way, and he's special. He's a winner, and I think everybody knows that.
You talked a lot about the past 2 weeks, the run game and knowing how important that is. That was the one area that you guys this week outdid Tennessee that, and then, on defense. Do you think with those two things, that's kind of where you won the game? Is that fair to say?
Well, I can't beat a dead horse here, but I said 80% of SEC games, if you outrush them by 1 yard, you're going to win 80% of them. And what I don't want to do is put the ball on the ground 4 times, and I have to overcome that. But we were very, very efficient running the football. Coach Grant, Coach Schlarman, Coach Henshaw, the whole offense staff, they did a very good job. And just leave it at that. I don't want to get too technical. But the bind that they were putting Tennessee in the run game was complicated and was very good, very, very efficient. And everybody just think it's brawn and running the ball and being physical, and that's a big part of it. But he had him very much off balance. And, I think it would have been very effective most of the day had we not put the ball on the ground.
Give us some insight on the Mississippi game coming up, what you know about them and what you might expect.
Pardon me? With what? With what? Ole Miss? Did he say Mississippi State? Yeah, I know. I thought you said.
We said Mississippi.
That's what I thought. I got you. But no, we expect a great game from Ole Miss. They have very talented players, as I mentioned, and they have great pride within their program, and without a doubt, who can we take lightly? We know that. It's no matter who we're playing, we have to play our best football, or we'll lose. So we have to play well. We have to prepare the right way. We need to build on some of the good things we did a week ago. I thought the players had great focus. I told you in here I had no reason to believe that the guys wouldn't have a great week, and that was prior to seeing them on Monday, and they did. They had a great week of practice. These players have great pride in what they do, and now we need to be consistent. We have to have another great week of preparation and have that same focus and attention to detail, and worry about ourselves.
I think this was the 3rd week this season. There was a ball in the air, game on the line, it was going to 0. Are you more comfortable with your players having experience, or is it just the same game 1 to the...
No, I think it's important to always learn in those situations. I was not real pleased after watching the tape the way that ball was completed at the end, and you learn from those situations. They're hard to tell our players all the time. Every 2-minute drill, every situation, all the time in this football, you could work it as many times, thousands of times, and it's always different. And just like the way the last plays played out for them, I think they got 86 yards in 9 seconds. It was 4th and 20 or 25? 4th and 25 they convert, and I was so mad that they converted it, but I looked at it on film. It was an unbelievable throw and catch. I mean, it dropped in there by inches, and I was pissed. Jordan, got to back up and make a play on the ball. He kind of floated a bit on that, but they convert that, and then he scrambles for 13 yards, and he throws the Hail Mary. So we need to play those situations better. The one play, again, the one on Jordan, the ball just dropped in there. It was a remarkable throw and catch, and then the run you could live with because it's burning time. The last play, we got to do a better job. We were in position. We executed exactly how we play. We talk about getting on the point and disrupting the receiver so they don't have a free release. We just got to play the football better.
Mark, how much hope has Drake given you? Just going
Yeah.
forward?
I think it's been real important. We've all talked about that in here and kicked that around, and with injuries and Nick, not being at 100% and Cole getting hurt, we had to shuffle it around. And as I told you, and as we touched on all year, that we would find the right mixture, and it comes from experience and playing guys and fooling with it, and he got better.
I'll throw you a softball. Dodgers or Astros?
Oh, I have no clue. I don't know. I am catching a few innings here and there, and it's a heck of a series, so I really have no interest in it. So, as far as who wins.